Now, there is no doubt about it that 2025 is going to be a very challenging year for the Walt Disney Company, especially for those out there like Bob Iger, the Disney executives, the board of directors, that are endlessly trying to really put all the pieces back together again for the Disney Company at all costs. No matter what it takes, they want to do what they have to do to really kind of continue to really shoehorn their typical Disney messaging into nearly every brand out there, whether it's Lucasfilm, Marvel, or any of the Disney live-action remakes up and coming. This is Mike Zero. Subscribe if you're new and like this video to see future updates. You can also follow me at Mike01. I thank you also very much for the great and kind support. Now, we all know that Snow White, the live-action remake, is in shambles, and rightfully so, by the way, quite frankly, because we all know that Bob Iger was asking for this, Disney was asking for this for many, many years after what they did with the terrible PR disaster by Rachel Zegler, as well as, let's not forget, the overfunding of this project, this movie essentially that has over $300 million going into it, and another additional $25 million for reshoots, which is not helping the case at all. Now, focusing on the current situation surrounding the firings of Snow White, we have a lot more to talk about this, and an overall update of what's been going on with this actual production. Now, we already know that Bob Iger is one that typically lies to the general public, typically lies to the shareholders, the core customer base, as he likes to call it as well, those that support Disney. He will lie to them endlessly to just keep them into the following year. Now, he does plan to step down by 2026, by the way. Now, interestingly enough, on top of everything here, with Bob Iger and the executives already going through various setbacks due to Iger's cost-cutting measures that are now applied to nearly every property that they own, one significant development going on currently has more to do with the firings going on for Snow White 25, and how new truths are beginning to erupt. A crucial update to the situation now involves how just recently the Walt Disney Company fired the entire marketing campaign of Snow White after the most recent trailer failed on an astronomical level across all forms of social media. Now, the firing of the marketing team is a near similar thing that happened for the Acolyte series. You guys remember that? When those trailers failed, and this is essentially nothing more than scapegoating by Bob Iger and the executives, as they do prepare for one of the worst box office failures of 2025, if not the worst one in history under Disney's wing. In addition to this, what made Bob Iger pull the plug on the marketing team once and for all had to do with Disney remaining unsatisfied with how the trailer was marketed on social media platforms and how it was controlled. To make matters worse for all of this, Disney also fired the trailer company that worked on the teaser of Snow White, as they are now in the process of getting a new trailer company to quickly put together and edit a full-length trailer to debut during the holiday season. The company that put the Snow White teaser together was also let go from Disney, as they blamed them for not properly marketing Snow White and the Evil Queen characters the way that they had wanted. Disney executives also blamed the trailer company for supposedly using scenes that featured unfinished CGI dwarfs dancing with Rachel Zegler as Snow White that were used in the previous footage that went public. This is yet again nothing more than scapegoating coming from Bob Iger and the Disney execs as they prepare for more reshoots and spending tens of millions of dollars more on additional scenes to be filmed for both Gal and Rachel. Now, in addition to all of that as well, Disney is also firing and laying off a series of animators that worked on Snow White, where they will no longer be returning for any Disney production after this. These are the animators that worked on the heavy CGI environments in the film, as well as the creation of the Seven Dwarfs, another example of scapegoating yet again. Already multiple Disney board members are actually calling for Iger to officially cancel Snow White altogether and or to put it on Disney+. So on that subject real quick, guys, I don't think that you could do either or at this point. I think it's really, a scenario where the damage is done. Even if they did cancel this thing, and they should, even if you do cancel it, the messaging is still there. It's going to be baked into everybody's mind about what Disney at least tried to do. If they do pursue canceling this thing, it's still going to be within everyone's mind that Disney was all about the messaging. It's not going to fix anything. It may fix a box office failure for sure, but it's not going to fix the perception from the general public at all. So I can see why some board members don't want to cancel this thing, because basically, what can they really do at this point, right? But at the same exact time, I feel that they should definitely backgirl this project. They should lock it up in a vault. Don't let it ever see the light of day. They're firing the wrong people, and they're really pointing the finger, playing the blame game train on the wrong people as well. You know, marketing teams, the trailer companies that worked on the trailer and the teaser of this project. And it doesn't stop there. We already know that the animators, alright, did somewhat of a sloppy job on this film, not because of how they perform with their work, but because they were rushed many times with this movie, and how some of the budgets that went into this movie were actually, believe it or not, quite limited when it came to the Seven Dwarfs. And we'll have a lot more to talk about that in the coming weeks as well. But interestingly enough, Bob Iger is involved in yet another disaster that is going to be a box office failure for 2025. Not a good start for 2025, by the way. Now, on top of that, other board members argued that would be a disastrous thing for Disney to do if they were to cancel the movie and or put it on Disney+. It would lead to a larger financial loss in their mind. Bob Iger agreed with the latter, as board members on his side are doubling down on this film, shifting away from source material and focusing more on their agenda and messaging. And about that, guys, one major aspect of shifting away from source material is that Snow White is now called Snow White because she survived a snowstorm. And because she survived that, her parents called her Snow White. This was confirmed, by the way, by Rachel Zegler, something that we touched on, by the way, a couple of months ago, that this was being bounced around back and forth by director Mark Webb. Now, Bob Iger is also set to make a very important statement about the Disney financial status surrounding this film, and a new announcement about reshoots will be released in the coming weeks within this month as Damage Control. So again, I mean, I think at the same exact time here, 2025 is going to be full of expensive movies and expensive projects, alright? Now look, objectively, if you look at Captain America 4's trailer, you could say it looks good or bad, that's fine and all, but it had a lot of money invested in it. It had a lot of reshoots that they went through, and if it fails, it's going to cost Disney hundreds of millions of dollars. Same exact thing applies here with Snow White, except this scenario, the majority of the general public view this movie as looking awful, very much out of place. It looks too much like a fever dream, very nightmarish for a movie like Snow White, and the PR disaster, we can't forget about that as well. So overall, I mean, this is not going to help in the least, no matter what they do, no matter what they try to do to fix this movie or to fix the reputation of, you know, the Disney executives involved in this film. It's not going to work at all. You know, no matter where you go, no matter what route you take, everybody knows that Disney messaging was their #1 priority for this movie. Overall, I would like to hear what everyone has to say about this ongoing situation over at the Walt Disney Company, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel, and I will catch you guys later.